America's Northwest is a place like no other. I'm on a journey up through Seattle and the last frontier, Alaska. Previously, I explored Seattle in Washington State to find a city connected deeply to the natural world. And in Alaska's capital, I saw how the prospect of gold still captures people's imaginations to this day. Oh, look at that!
You seen it?
We got some gold!
How about that?
How about that, my friends? What a way to experience Alaska. So this time I'm carrying on my journey through Alaska to see how people here continue to adapt to the natural world around them.
You really have to plan your life and your day-to-day routines around what nature will allow you to do that day.
Even when it is changing at pace.
All this area that's collapsed, this is completely full of water, about 14 billion gallons, and it all rushed out underneath the glacier down into Juneau.
There goes, there goes. To discover how this remarkable corner of the world is shaped by nature. I'm in Alaska's state capital of Juneau. It's a place dominated by nature, which can have a big impact here, as I'm about to find out. I've been reliably informed that given the terrain around here, these things are basically like taxis. We've got an 8-minute flight. I've never been in a helicopter. Let's go. I'm meeting up with University of Alaska's Southeast scientists, Erin Hood and Abby Watts.
Oh man, I'm so excited.
They've invited me to tag along as they conduct their research on the changing environment here.
Oh yes, here we go. Just look out there. For me, this is exactly what Alaska is. Incredible landscapes, spruce, hemlock trees all over the place, trunks of lakes, gorgeous glaciers. This is what it's all about. So we're just coming into Juneau Mendenhall Glacier, which is about 30 miles wide. It's incredible, and it's one of the many thousands of glaciers in Alaska. This basin that we're coming into, all this area that's collapsed, this was completely full of water, and it all rushed out underneath the glacier down into Juneau.
Last summer, water amounting to about 30,000 Olympic swimming pools surged from the glacier down into Juneau.
There goes, there goes.
Causing catastrophic damage and ripping homes from the banks of the river. With the glacier just 13 miles from downtown Juneau, the question for locals now is what the future may hold, particularly amid a changing climate. So it sounds like these glaciers are losing a fair bit of water.
Yeah, that's right. Where we're walking today, the ice is probably thinning 4 or 5 meters per year.
Yeah.
So if you were to go to the edge of the glacier and write your name on the wall and come back the next year, you'd see that where you wrote your name was maybe 5 meters above your head, because the ice is just thinning in place and losing so much mass.
And that must be an awful lot of water over the year, 5 meters on a space like this.
It's a tremendous amount of water, and that's why glaciers in coastal Alaska are one of the largest contributors to global sea level rise.
Abby studies changes in the glacier with a drone, but it doesn't always go completely to plan. There it is.
Oh my gosh, there it is.
Oh, and there it's broken. It's going in the crevasse.
had a little crash.
Got a little bit of a
With
problem.
minor damage, yeah.
Occupational hazard.
We've got a spare prop.
And what exactly was it that you were mapping then? What were you trying to map anyway?
Yeah, so we were trying to map the basin. We were trying to get an idea of where the water level is at. So theoretically it's at its lowest point. It looks like it's pretty low. And so if we know what the surface topography is when there's no water in the basin or a low amount, then we can calculate how much water is in the basin when it's full. And so then we can kind of better predict how much water is going to be draining. The problem is we don't know what the surface looks like beneath all of those icebergs.
The scale of this is so large. There's nothing we can do here to stop this basin from filling. People can do things downstream to build protective walls, but even that's very expensive, and we're not sure in the end if it will make the difference. Year to year, it's very hard to predict what's going to happen.
So we're pretty much done for the afternoon, and one thing I've learned is just, you can just hear it there. That is so much ice just falling down, and that impact is just so awesome. And I mean that in a way that it's amazing, it's beautiful, but it's also quite terrifying. When you learn about the amount of water that accumulates and then rushes down into Juneau, it makes me realize just how much of an impact the natural world, the natural landscape around Alaska can have for the people here. But nature has also brought wealth to this area. Juneau lies at the northern end of the vast 17 million acre Tongass National Forest. The Great Alaskan Lumberjack Show in Ketchikan in the south of the forest tells the story of that Alaskan cultural icon which sprung from here, the lumberjack.
Right, showtime!
The show combines the history of the lumberjack with what is known as timber sports, athletic woodcutting competitions. See how fast he went up there?
It's like watching Spider-Man.
Logging was a big component in making this area prosperous. After the industry came here in the early 1900s, it quickly became a key logging hub of America. Today, recently updated restrictions mean much of the Tongass remains undisturbed, but the legend of the lumberjack lives on. But I wanted to see how others here have managed to carve out a different, harmonious balance with nature, so I've returned to Juneau.
Alaska was actually owned by the Russians until 1867, who then sold it to the United States for $7.2 million. But of course, there have been indigenous people here much longer than the Russians.
Along the harbour, dozens of specially made totem poles are being put up to celebrate indigenous communities here, which make up about a fifth of the Alaskan population.
Juneau.
Juneau Dietrichson.
Qasa Alom, lovely to meet you.
Good to meet you.
I love these totem poles. What do they represent?
These would be representing all the clans of Southeast Alaska. I've done a totem pole with Master Carver Mick Beasley, and I can show you if you would like.
I'd absolutely love that, yeah. So tell me a little bit about your clan.
My clan is the Kluknakari clan, and the Kluknakari translates to raven coho. Coho is a species of salmon, also known as silver salmon.
Mm-hmm.
Our stories go back for millennia. Of all the United States, Alaska is the second state to have officially recognized indigenous languages, and Hawaii is the first.
Has modern Alaskan history always been so open to native stories, the indigenous clans?
No, it hasn't. It has been a struggle to fight for native rights. This is what we call the Kluknakari pole. It's the raven coho pole.
It's beautiful. is so intricate. Tell me the story of it. What is it showing?
So at the bottom here, what we have is the female. And we know she's a female because she has what's called a lip plug. And she would represent the matriarch of the Kluknankari pole. The red figure just above her is the coho. So since we are Raven coho, that's what that is. The next figure up, the black figure, is a representation of Raven, who has many stories of him. He's a trickster and a thief and a liar and all other things. But on top is a white frog. Back in 1905, the Kluknankari in Dry Bay were building a new house. And while they were doing that, what they found was this dead frozen frog. They put it aside so that they could bury it later. You know, respect for all things is ingrained in our culture. And they continued working on the house, and while they were doing that, the frog came back to life. It thawed out, basically. And so taking that as a good sign, a good omen, we commissioned the white frog and have adopted it into our clan as a symbol of us, the Raven Coho, the Kluknankari.
A lot of the stories that you're talking about are grounded in nature, aren't they, from indigenous clans?
They are. This land has been inhabited since time immemorial, and there is no way to separate yourself from nature. And so things that happen here, and knowing the land, and harvesting from it, and cultivating it, is a really big part of the indigenous cultures here.
Nature connects deeply in Alaska. I'm leaving Juneau to head 2 hours north of Anchorage, where the population is sparse and where people seeking that connection to nature will make big sacrifices to be truly amongst it.
You made it.
I made it.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready for it. Lovely to meet you. How's it going?
Well, it's going to be a little uncomfortable for a minute, but then we'll be in a warm cabin. So.
Oh, sounds great. Let's get
right.
going.
Let's
okay?
get you back.
I am chilled to the bone.
Kyle and Craig Morgan live part-time off-grid, with no mains electricity or running water. We're heading an hour off-road through forest and swampland.
All right, buddy.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Go!
No one goes on this trail but us this time of year.
Yeah!
This is our trail.
This is real off-road.
My driver is Craig, who nearly a decade ago bought the land we're heading to, and with his son Kyle, recently opened it up to some select paying visitors.
Since everything's froze,
Yeah.
I'm going to try this. Let's see. Let's hope this works. Oh, yeah, we're good.
Never in doubt.
It's not too rough.
Oh, fine.
Craig also happens to be a huge country star here in the US, having racked up millions of streams of his music and had a string of top 10 country hits.
There's a fella that lives back there. He said, yeah, apparently some famous country singer was going to bought some property back here. He said, oh, he'll be a quitter. He won't make it. 7 years later, I'm teaching him stuff.
Oh, brilliant. How do you know where you're going?
Before I got the place, I literally studied the map so much, I knew exactly where I needed to walk before we drove it. We've done it so much now, we know.
Would you say that is one of the key things to living among nature like this, is you've got to respect it, you've got to know exactly what you're getting yourself into?
100%. You can't be too confident. You got to always appreciate the brutality of nature, especially out here. Hey, here we go, down the hill.
I feel like I'm on one of those roller coasters. You're enjoying this, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I can tell in your face.
I'm one of those guys that thinks the faster you go, the less bumpy it is.
So this is it, we're here.
We're here.
We're here.
We made it.
We made it. Woo!
feel really good today. And I've just had a little explore. We've got an outhouse over there, but it's one of those places where there's no running water. So if you do your business, I'll leave the rest to your imagination. We've also got a shower over there. If you want to use it though, you have to collect your own water from the lake and put it in the pump. So this place, it's really remote and you've really got to be self-reliant. Hey team, how are we doing today? Morning.
Did you get some good rest?
Yeah, that was one of the best nights, honestly. So fun. What have you got here then on this site?
Well, the cabin you were staying in, we built after we bought the property. This little cabin here with the green roof, that was the only thing that was on the property when we first bought it back in 2016, and we've added everything else that you see since then.
So how do you power all this?
Our primary power source is solar.
And I can see that you're so well set up here, but realistically, how long could you actually be out here self-sufficient?
Indefinitely.
Yeah, pretty well indefinitely.
In an environment like this, such a harsh environment, the three most critical things are shelter, water, and food. We have water, tons of food source, animals, all kinds of vegetation. There's lots here. Yeah, we could live here indefinitely.
Just one thing I haven't actually noticed, you also got a gun.
I do. It's one of those things we would rather have and not need than need and not have.
Yeah, okay.
The moose, primarily, believe it or not, are a lot more aggressive than bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we encounter those, we have the means to take care of the situation.
Well, let's hope it's just for show today, yeah?
I'll grab that if you want to grab just one of those logs.
Just one of these, okay?
Yeah. Oh, let's get those guns going.
Now, I had been told I'd need to catch my own lunch, but I hadn't expected to be doing it like this.
Is this safe?
It is. It is. Are you ready?
I guess so.
Take your step.
You sure?
Yeah. Come on out here with me.
Yeah. Oh man, this is
Plenty
so
good.
weird. I can see stuff underneath.
We're just gonna go right out here. It doesn't take much.
Of course, you should only ever try this if you're with an experienced guide like Kyle.
Oh, cool. Oh yeah, it really spurts out.
It's a little thicker than I thought it was.
Yeah, well that's good.
Yeah, it's good. We'll go over here and drill yours.
Yeah, okay, you can see that. What's the wager? If I catch a fish before you, you're gutting, all right?
That sounds good.
Yeah.
And if I catch a fish before you, you're gutting.
You're still
We'll turn
gutting.
it back at you.
Being here, I appreciate just how much of an effort comfort is.
Here, you're directly related. You're directly connected with the effort and energy that you put out. You receive that back. So when you have to go to the lake and drill a hole in the ice just to get your water, you have a lot more of appreciation for that when it's done and you have it. You have to harmonize with it. You really have to be in tune and in sync with what nature is doing, and you plan your life and your day-to-day routines around what nature will allow you to do that day. This place actually has a little bit more of a special meaning to us because we purchased this property on the same year that my little brother actually passed away. He was 19 years old, and it was in 2016 he passed away in a boating accident. And that really was just a tough time for our family. It was the hardest thing that me and my siblings have ever had to go through. What we did is we turned to each other. And then we started coming out to this place because my little brother loved the outdoors. He was into it as I was. Loved it. And so this place became kind of a place of refuge for us. and we could all come out here and be together and kind of disconnect from everything that was going on, and remember and be here. It really is amazing what being out here in this environment and being out away from everything will do. I don't think there's anything that could pull my family apart, especially after that.
Thanks for sharing that story. You're welling me up, mate, honestly. It's,
yeah, well, it's a tough situation to go through, and this is the way life is.
You got a bite?
Not anymore.
I fancy a bite, but
yes.
I can't play ball.
Yeah. This may be a day that the fish win.
I just climbed out of a cottonwood tree. I was running from some honeybee. Drift drying in the summer breeze. After jumping in the Glacial Creek, I was walking down an older road, past a field of hay that had just been mowed. And I wish you'd just let me alone.
So that is the end of this incredible trip through the northwest of America, Seattle and Alaska. And what an unbelievable journey it has been. The temperature here is cold, the environment unforgiving, but the people are warm, respectful and resourceful. And it's that reverence for nature here that has clearly helped shape their identity and help them to survive and thrive. Spending time with Kyle and Craig, I've also realised that it has a healing element as well. Being in this environment has helped bring them together, and that is clearly going to stay with me for a long time.
Past a field of hay that had just been mowed. Man, I wish you'd just let me alone, 'cause I was almost